evening. Would you all please rise for the singing of our national anthem by one of our seniors, Victoria Smith.
She good? Yeah, she's pretty good. We heard on the
Oh, they can't.
Does that answer your question?
See by the dawn's early light.
So you're standing up there?
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yeah, she was good.
Hey guys,
There is RTC, people.
who's the RTC? Good time to try the Army Mini Teeny Deeny Weenies. RTC.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot?
Thank you very much. Would you all please be seated?
You're practicing the beginning room.
It just started. Yeah, it should be.
Good evening. My name's Dusty Gray. I'm the current principal of Western Brown High School. It's a pleasure tonight to welcome the family, the friends, and the faculty to the second outdoor graduation on La Rosa's Field at Kibler Stadium. We're very excited that you all could join us tonight for this momentous celebration. There are two groups of people tonight that I'd like to recognize that have had a significant role in getting the 262 graduates to this point. Would all the parents and guardians please stand at this time?
Hey, Margie.
Thank you. Faculty and staff, would you please stand?
Sit back down.
This is a tremendous group of very dedicated people. They've worked diligently to get these young students across the stage tonight. They do a great job in preparing our students for all of their future endeavors. For this to happen, the high school cannot take the sole credit. We wish to thank all the educators in our district for their impact on the lives of these young men and women. Would all the veterans that are in our crowd tonight please stand?
Sit down.
Any senior that will be going into the military, would you please join them?
Wow, that's not very many. Did you hear me, Michelle? That's not very many.
Hello.
Thank you so very much for assuring our freedom in both the past and in the future. We greatly appreciate your commitment to making our country what it is today. For a ceremony of this size and magnitude, a lot of people are involved. I would like to recognize and thank all of you who do so much for us. Please stand when I call your name, and would you please hold your applause until all names have been read. First of all, our new superintendent, Mr. Christopher Burrows. Mrs. Jenny Boyer, our special education supervisor. Mr. Marty Peltz, the middle school principal. Mrs. Lily Cook, assistant principal, Mount Orb Middle School. Mrs. Peggy McKinney, Hamersville Elementary and Middle School.
Yeah.
Miss Mindy Pride, assistant principal of Hamersville Elementary and Middle School.
Is it you?
Miss Deborah Mahan, assistant principal, Mount Orb Elementary School. Mrs. Gina Bowl, Western Brown curriculum director. Mr. Kevin Karatzer, superintendent of Southern Hills Career and Technical Center. Western Brown School Board members, President Mr. Richie Pride, Mrs. Joanne Hildebrandt, Mrs. Lynette Garrett, Mr. Mike Kirk, and Mr. Shane Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being an integral part of our ceremony tonight. Would you give these people a round of applause?
Sorry, Mom. I would like to have mute.
And from me, I would like to personally thank a few people, Andy Wood and Jeffrey Herman, for helping me set up these chairs, which we've done on 3 separate occasions this week. A very special thank you to the custodians and all their help this week, especially Wade Souter, our high school head custodian, for putting up with all my demands this week. Thank you is not nearly a grand enough word for all the help and encouragement from Sharon Kinzel, Mary Heiler, Patricia Cornett, and our 2 guidance counselors, Tony Boyer and soon to be retiring Mr. Joe Moore. Thank you so much to Mr. Tim Cook and Mrs. Heather Cooper, who is soon to be the new principal of Western Brown High School, Mrs. Jordan, Mr. Reed for the music, which sets the tone for the entire ceremony. Please join me once again in applauding all these people.
The girl in the black with the blonde hair.
At this time, I invite Mr. Burrows to come forward and share a few marks with the class of 2011.
There could be deaf people in the audience.
Like this. Yes. Sign language.
Thank you, Mrs. Gray. On behalf of the Western Brown Local Board of Education, I wish to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. However, it's not quite as warm of a welcome as it was last year. We have a very nice evening here tonight. As Mrs. Gray said, it is very true that these chairs have been up and down 4 times, and I'll take full credit for that. To the custodial staff, once again, who's done a phenomenal job. For those of you that do not know me, I took over as superintendent April 1st of this spring. And I cannot tell you how proud I am to be a Bronco. The one group that I would like to recognize above and beyond all is the taxpayers of Western Brown local schools, because our facilities are second to none. As you look around Brown County and all other surrounding areas, we have the best facilities thanks to our taxpayers. What I want to speak to the class of 2011 today about is what you do from this point forward. The mistakes, the joys, and all of the past is today erased because you start a new beginning. And I'd like to open with a quote from Aristotle. He says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." And elaborating on that this evening, I want to talk about one of my favorite books of all time. And I think it speaks to letting the past go, living for the future, and becoming the best version of yourself. This book is called The Fred Factor. It's written by Mark Sanborn. And for me, I loved it because it was only 100 pages. It took me about 20 or 30 minutes to buzz through it. Mark Sanborn speaks about Fred, who was a mailman that he met. Mark Sanborn, being an author and a well-known speaker, travels around the country. and so he moves from place to place depending upon where his career takes him. So he moved to a new location, and within a couple of days, the mailman spoke to him, and they struck up a conversation, and the mailman asked him, "What do you do for a living?" And it took him back because the mailman has never spoken to him, simply dropped his mail and left. So they carry on with the conversation, and the mailman tells him, he says, "I'll take care of you, Mark. When you're out of town, I'll drop your mail in your mailbox. When the mailbox fills up, I'll put the mail between your your screen door and your main door. That way nobody knows that you're out of town." Mark once again was taken aback by this mailman. He was kind of skeptical. So as the story goes on, Mark was out of town and he returned home. As he returned home, the mail was exactly like Fred had said. It was in his mailbox, and it was also in between his main door and the screen door. But what Mark noticed that his floor mat was gone. So he looked around, couldn't find his floor mat. He looked over in the corner of his porch, and there sits the floor mat, draped over what looked like to be a box or a package of some kind. Once again, this is Fred doing his work. So Mark went over, and it was a package from UPS, and he didn't think much about it. He went inside. The next day, Fred came by. Fred asked him if he got his package. Mark confirmed and said he did. Fred went on to explain that the UPS man, sorry if there's any UPS men in here, no shot to you at all, but the UPS man had actually left the package at the wrong house. Fred realized this, brought it to Mark's house, and covered it up once again so no one would know that Mark was out of town. Throughout the book, Mark talks about many Freds. Freds that go above and beyond their call of duty, no matter what their work is. There are 4 lessons that came very evident to me in this book. Number 1 lesson: no matter what you choose to do, graduates, you can make a difference. Think about your current situation. Do you add value or do you take away from those around you? Is it your personal mission to lighten the day for someone else? Are you ordinary or are you extraordinary? Always remember, the more value you add to others around you, the more blessings that will come to yourself. The second message that I got from this book is that success is built on relationships. For the first 13 years of your educational career, relationships of those folks that are sitting beside you, some are great, some folks you may not know at all. But I challenge you to practice a quote that my mother started sharing with me at a young age. She said, "Be careful how you treat those around you. You may need their services tomorrow." This is a quote that has stuck with me even till today. Whether your career be a future mechanic, a mailman, a teacher, a doctor, or the one waiting on you in a restaurant, you need to make sure that you take care of the people around you and let them know that you appreciate what they do. Remember, there are no unimportant jobs, only people that feel unimportant doing their jobs. As graduates of 2011, you have the opportunity to make a difference, not only in the Western Brown community, but the communities that you choose to travel and to live in. The third lesson: you must continually create value for others around you. You have the opportunity each and every day when situations arise, when you wake up and you're tired, and it'll happen, or you're sick, or, I know you won't admit it now, you have children and you're up all night, and you wake up and you're not feeling fresh. You have the opportunity to take a good day or to make a bad. The last lesson: reinvent yourself regularly. This is what Fred did. And throughout the book, Sanborn talks about people that didn't get stuck in the rut of doing the same thing over and over again, regardless of what they decided to do with their life. They spiced it up, they change it, they make someone smile, and they make a difference. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Winston Churchill. Winston says, "There comes a special moment in everyone's life, a moment for which that person was born. That special opportunity, when he seizes it, will fulfill his mission, a mission for which he is uniquely qualified. In that moment, you'll find greatness in its final hour." I wish to extend to you a congratulations on behalf of the entire Board of Education and a blessed and fruitful life. Thank you.